I think speech pathology is an excellent career for someone who really enjoys helping people. You can work with adults or you can work with children. There's you'll never be bored because there's varied populations. You can work with children or adults who stutter, voice disorder, articulation, language, children with special ed, dyspraxia, adults with aphasia. I mean, there are so many different areas that you can work with, and it seems like every client has a different, more interesting case. My specialty is speech and language disorders in preschoolers. So I typically see children who have articulation disorders or delayed language. I have worked with many autistic children and, hearing and vision, but I would say my main love is articulation. I primarily I used to work with babies to 3, that was the EI, early intervention, and then I also worked with the 3 to 5-year-olds. Now at this point I'm working with 3 to 5-year-olds. When I worked with the babies, obviously you're going to use age-appropriate toys. And you might use things that the little one is used to in home. Blocks, dolls, bubbles, things of that nature. And the 3 to 5-year-olds, as they become more mature, we might bring games and focus on sounds that they're working on, and often they don't even realize that they're working on it. They think that we're just playing a game when I'm reinforcing that sound over and over and over again. Some children are able to do a more structured activity, and I literally have a card of a sound we're working on, and I have them say it over and over again. It depends. It depends on the child's maturity level and their ability to sit and attend. Exercises that I might do depends obviously on what we're working on. If it's articulation, what I do is an assessment and see what they are able to produce. There's various ways of determining what I would work on first, and it can be complicated, and it varies from child to child. They're able to say the sound in isolation, in a syllable, in a word or phrase. Sometimes a child can say the sound in a word, but they can't do it in a consonant cluster. For example, they can say the B sound, but they can't say bread. So they can say butter, but it's bread. So then you have to assess, is it just the R? Sometimes it can be a combination of the sound, it can be influenced by other sounds in the word. There's an analysis that needs to be done before you really begin working with a child. Because I work with children, probably the biggest challenge is I only have them for their attention span for a brief period of time, so I have to really focus hard on trying to get that goal accomplished before I lose them, because typically it's just a half an hour session, and you think, oh, what can you get done in a half an hour? But you have to be organized and know what you're going to achieve before you set out to do it. I would say the greatest rewards, obviously, is seeing children who are having so much trouble communicating and then being able to communicate, and you see a very large part of their self-confidence, rise in self-confidence, and I see them bloom. And then the parents, I've had parents crying and hugging me because they can't believe what a difference they see in their children. So it's not just their speech and articulation, it affects their whole personality, really. As a full-time speech pathologist, you can make anywhere from 50 to 100,000 or more if you were teaching, I suppose, based on the setting you work and the amount of hours that you put in. I made 50,000 when I worked in a school setting. Typically you make more in an urban setting than you would in a smaller area. I made 100,000 when I worked full-time private contracting through a county seeing children at an hourly rate. One particular story I'd like to share with you is about a little girl I saw as a private speech pathologist. And I noticed that she had an unusual tone. She was hyponasal. You kind of talk like this through her nose. And I recommended that she be seen by an ear, nose, and throat doctor, an ENT, before seeing her. Her mother said that she had been seen, and he gave her a clean bill of health. Well, I did trial therapy for a couple months and realized that there was no progress being made. So I recommended to the mother that she then take her for a second opinion. The parents felt that that was not necessary. I continued on for another month and discovered on my own that she had a slightly blue line on her alveolar ridge and had difficulty blowing, and suggesting that she could possibly have a cleft, a submucous cleft underneath her palate that you couldn't see. I felt, due to the fact that I wasn't having any success with therapy, that she try getting a second opinion. But when the parents weren't happy about that, I just said that I thought they owed it to their daughter. Once they did, I was absolutely right, and the doctor called me up and said that she had a submucous cleft, had surgery, and it was almost instantaneous after that. She was no longer hyponasal. She got her vocal quality was back, and she just needed very short-term therapy to make the progress that she needed. So that was exciting.